Thank you, Lalit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You are very kind, as always, my distinguished panelists and this very distinguished audience. As always, it's a very difficult act to follow after Dr. Shashi Tharoor has spoken. And he's actually spoken everything that I wanted to say, perhaps many of our other panelists wanted to say. But as they say, everything may be said, but everybody hasn't said it. So we still have a chance. First of all, I always have a problem with Surendra's title. Robust, pragmatic, practical are very wholesome principles. But as our American friends would say, it's like motherhood and gajar ka halwa or something. So who can question them? So I take it that the real topic is what Indian foreign policy has not been and what it should be under a new government. I think that's the topic of discussion. I know that Mr. Modi has been inundated with advice, mostly unsolicited advice, mostly from our strategic community, on how he should shed the past and start a new chapter in foreign policy. For those who expect the Modi wave to create a tsunami of change, I would say caution. Because this is not India's practice. If in India changes in policy come by stealth and not by declarations when governments change. And I'm going to illustrate that. People also have commented that Mr. Modi has brought to an end the Nehruvian consensus, whatever that means. I really don't know what it means, but I take it that it is based on two strong pillars. One is socialism in economic policy at home and non-alignment abroad. That's what I think was the Nehruvian consensus. But we'll all know that socialism was abandoned in 1991 by a Congress government led by Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. And as far as non-alignment is concerned, I have several dates on which I thought non-alignment died. But actually, the funeral took place in the time of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he set about creating strategic partnerships with a lot of countries we were supposed to be non-aligned against. So, if you're talking of a break in Nehruvian foreign policy, yes, there have been changes, but actually not changes in declarations through changes of government. Now, I would give credit to the first major change in foreign policy to Mr. Vajpayee, when he brought in 5 different departures from the earlier policies. Again, not by declaration, not at one go, but by stealth during his entire tenure. And these 5 changes were: 1, a shift from idealism to realism; 2, a composite foreign policy which incorporated political, economic, and security elements; 3, a change in the concept of security from protecting one's borders to promoting one's strategic interests abroad; 4, a new network of strategic partnerships; and 5, importance to the neighborhood. Now, as far as I can see, after Mr. Vajpayee left, his successor, Dr. Manmohan Singh, followed the same policy without any change whatsoever. And that, I think, is the style, the policy of consensus that has prevailed in foreign policy, which Dr. Tharoor has referred to. Now, there will be changes. There have to be changes. But I think the changes will be not in terms of policy, but in terms of style and priorities. And let me try to explain what I think will be the changes that you can expect. Because every prime minister brings a distinct style. And Mr. Modi has given us an indication of what his style is going to be. I think Mr. Modi's style will be, number 1, Modi means business. I've heard this from reliable sources that when Mr. Modi met the leaders of the SAARC countries and from Mauritius, the foreign leaders were a bit taken aback when Mr. Modi, instead of wasting time on chit-chat and conversation, went straight on to an agenda and raised issues of bilateral importance. That means that he doesn't lose time, he means business. 2, I think Mr. Modi means monitoring. Quite often we make statements, policy pronouncements, and these are not carried out, projects are never completed on time, I think you'll have to see a change of style in this government. 3, it's quite clear that Mr. Modi will not be the primus inter pares. He is not the first amongst equals. He is the boss. He is quite clearly a presidential prime minister. And I don't think there are any equals in his cabinet. So that will be a big change in style. 4, it's quite clear that Mr. Modi will establish a personal rapport with most of the foreign leaders in dealing with. 5, Mr. Modi will not let state chief ministers usurp his right to foreign policy. And we've seen that in some of his attitudes even in the last few days. And then finally, I think Mr. Modi will consciously follow a role model, and that role model is Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And if you look at Mr. Vajpayee, again, you can't typecast Mr. Vajpayee because he always came up with something interesting, something new, something unexpected. That's what Mr. Modi did even before he became Prime Minister. The initiative to invite the SAARC leaders and the leader of Mauritius to come was something that reminds you of what Mr. Vajpayee would have done and had done during his period. Now, what would be the priorities of Mr. Modi's foreign policy? Now, I've been amused by the mass of media reports which applauded Mr. Modi for thinking out of the box for his brilliant initiative in inviting the SAARC leaders. I think people don't read manifestos because they don't think it's important. The same thing happened when the nuclear test took place, and everybody said nobody was expecting it. Everybody was shocked. Sanctions were imposed against India. But it was right there in the BJP manifesto that if they came to power, they would make India a nuclear power. Now, if you read the BJP manifesto, which was issued before this election, and I must confess, it's a pretty badly drafted document, and I'm pretty sure no Foreign Service officer would have drafted it. So, but the point is, there are elements there which are an indication of Mr. Modi's priorities. Let me try to give a list of these. Firstly, the role of India. A resurgent India must get its rightful place in the Committee of Nations and international institutions. This is what the manifesto says. Translation: India will be active in G20, in BRICS, in the East Asia Summit, and with other international bodies. India will pursue with vigor its case for becoming a permanent member of the Security Council. Number 2, the neighborhood is important. And there are 2 places in the manifesto which say so. It says we will engage proactively with countries in our neighborhood and beyond. He said that. And in another place, he talks about how SAARC is important and must be strengthened. That brings me to the third point, which is regional institutions. Here, the manifesto mentions SAARC and mentions ASEAN as 2 regional institutions that will receive priority. So watch out. He has already demonstrated within 24 hours his commitment to SAARC, and his approach to ASEAN unquestionably will follow, because that's an area he understands. He has visited ASEAN and understands the importance of ASEAN as an economic region for India. Then, number 4, we will be active in global forums like BRICS, G20, IPSA, SCO, and ASEAN. These are mentioned in the manifesto. There are many other institutions where I think India will be proactive. So the translation is that India will project itself as a proactive global power. Number 5, the manifesto says India will spread its influence through a web of alliances. This is also significant. People don't talk of alliances. We've always spoken of partnerships. I was a bit curious that the manifesto talks about alliances. But I take it that we take it in the generic sense, not in the literal sense of a military alliance, but an alliance in the way Mr. Vajpayee said, we and the Americans are natural allies. So what is my interpretation of this? We have 23 odd strategic partnerships with select countries. And this, I think, Mr. Modi will pursue, because this is what I think he means by the web of alliances, and these will continue. Number 6, there's something in the manifesto which is interesting. Promotion of brand India. Whatever that means, it is promotion of brand India. India represents a lot of things. You have to read Dr. Tharoor's books to understand what brand India means. But the manifesto refers to 5 elements of brand India, and this is worth noting. Tradition, talent, tourism, trade, and technology. You can add many, many things more. And finally, I think soft power is something that is specifically mentioned in the manifesto, and it's an element that the BJP has always pursued. They have always talked about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and how India can be a Vishwaguru. So expect more of that to be projected as part of India's reach out. So I take it that in this new government, 3 goddesses will preside over India's destiny. There'll be goddess Durga, who is Shakti. There's goddess Saraswati, who is wisdom. And there's goddess Lakshmi, who is prosperity and trade. There you are. Now, there is also a restructuring of the MEA, which Mr. Modi has promised. Watch out for that. And finally, the issue that Surendra Kumar has raised. Is he going to be an aggressive prime minister and so on? Now, let me tell you, those who promote an aggressive policy for India, there are a lot of people within our strategic community who have said Mr. Modi must show strength. Now, I take it that those who want to fix problems in our foreign policy want to do it by fixing other countries. So you have a problem with Maldives not honoring a contract, let's fix them. Let's fix the Nepalese, let's fix the Sri Lankans. If the Americans are being too tough with us, let's fix the Americans also. So this business of fixing people means that you don't believe in diplomacy. As President Obama said in his West Point speech yesterday, we may have the best hammer in the world, but every problem is not a nail. So don't be tempted to use the hammer every time you have a problem. In the past week, we have seen Mr. Modi transform himself from being a politician to being a statesman. So far, so good. But mind you, we are judging a prime minister and his government on the basis of 4 days of performances. I remain optimistic. I keep my fingers crossed. Thank you.